Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. This course deals to introduce students to fundamental concept of teaching English to young learners. Hello everyone, I'm Rahma Dinda. I'm 6th semester in English education and I'm student of University Bengkulu. Okay, in this video, I'll share you guys about what is EYL, learner group criteria, and what are the characteristics of it. We started from what is EYL? Teaching English to Young Learner is a course for all teachers of primary school age students. This course aims to equip students with the theoretical and practical aspect of teaching English to young learners. So, it is also to equip teachers with the knowledge and skills needed to support young learners through the delivery of engaging and motivating lessons. So, what will a teacher discuss in this EYL? More specifically, this course addresses issues related to first is learning theory, second, young children's learning strategies, third, teaching and learning activities, fourth, classroom methods and techniques to be used when teaching English to young learners, and the last, development of games, songs, and visual materials and their use in the teaching and assessment of young English learners. Come to think of it, why is it important to know how to teach English to young learners? First is, English has become the dominant or international or common language in the world. What is the meaning? The meaning is, English has also become a component of higher, secondary, primary, and even preschool education in the context of EFL teaching. And the second, the concept of young learner has begun to cover a large age range than it was 2 or 3 decades ago. Okay, this change is clearly seen in the quality and quantity of textbooks written for different age and levels of young English learners and publications made in this area. And the last, this also brings the demand for competent English teachers to teach very young and language learners. This means that teachers are required to understand the abilities they have in order to channel the learning to children. There is a statement from Harmer 2007. Each does have an important role in what we teach and how we teach it. As youth classes differ from adult and or adolescent classes in terms of the learner's language learning needs, emphasize language competencies and cognitive skills. Okay, therefore, it is very important to point out the differences between these three groups of learners given the fact that each learner is unique. Okay, let's move to there are criteria for groups of learners based on age. First is, for the very young learner group, it was from 3 to 6 years old. And second, for young learner groups, it was from 7 to 9 years old. For late young learner groups, it was from 10 to 12 years old. If there are age criteria of learners, of course there is a difference between those ages, both from language focus or skill use, and each of their characteristics. we can see language focus or skill use and characteristic of very young learner. First is language focus or skill use. First, listening and speaking. Vocabulary items include concrete and familiar objects. No grammar teaching or meta language can analyze language but may be exposed to chunks through songs, classroom language. And the last, no reading, writing may recognize letters or short words. And the characteristic first is low concentration span but easily excited, high motivations, active involvement, love taking but problem in sharing, short memory, learn slowly, forget easily, repetition and revision. And in young learner, language focus or skill use first is listening and speaking. Second, vocabulary items include concrete and familiar and new object. Third, new in reading and writing, word to sentence level. And the last, no grammar teaching or meta language, chunks through songs and classroom language. And the characteristic of young learner first, low concentration span, wide variety of activities needed, short memory, frequent revision is needed, logical analytical, asking question, problem in sharing in group work, developing confidence in expressing themselves, developing word knowledge, limit motor skills, reasonable amount of input, and the last, love stories, fantasy, imaginations, drawing, and coloring. And how about late young learner? Language focus or skill use first, listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And the second, vocabulary items include concrete and abstract. And the last is grammar. And how the characteristic of late young learner first is longer attention span but still children. Second, taking learning seriously. Third, word knowledge. And the fourth, more cooperations in groups and in pairs. 5. Develop social, motor, and intellectual skills. And the last, learning strategies are used and developing. And the conclusions we can draw are English language teaching methodology for young learners is if a teacher is able to know the skills and characteristics of the group of learners based on age, then the teacher will know what the right method is used to teach so that the learning process runs well and in accordance with expectations. Okay, for learners younger than 10 to 11, it may be effective to embed language in a context. For example, songs, stories, games, in which language is a vehicle, not the driver. And the second, for learners older than 10 to 11, it may be appropriate to include a more formal focus on language. Okay, that's all for me about teaching English young learner. I hope you got it about what I said in this video. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.